So Daily. I am your host, Mystic Raven. And in this tutorial, we're going to be discussing traits and Mundas stones. So basically, you've picked up your quest, you're going through the game, you're doing the content, you've probably gotten into a dungeon or two, you're maybe starting to get crafted gear, looted gear, and you're kind of deciding exactly what you're going to put together as far as your character, whether it be a healer, a tank, a stam DPS, or magicka DPS. It now becomes the question, what kind of traits do you want to use for your gear, and especially to help you level? So in this one, I'm actually going to show you here. So the way I do it, the rule of thumb, because I'm going to do dungeons, and I know I'm going to do that, I want to keep my 3 biggest pieces infused because it's going to give me more of my base stat, whether it be health, stamina, or magicka. And then with everything else, I typically go training. The reason training is very important for your leveling, it's going to increase your experience for your kills. And when you're doing dungeons, it's not going to necessarily help with completions of quests, so I don't want you guys thinking that, but as you're killing things to do quests, that helps. And when you're in dungeons, this is a big boost towards your XP gain. And also you can get Physium Ambrosia, and that's player made, and you can go ahead and drink that along with experience scrolls in the crown store to also help you level. So, training though definitely does help. So I always tell people I usually will go ahead and make all of my offset pieces training. It really comes in handy, but I usually keep my bigger pieces infused because I know I'm going to do dungeons, and I go ahead and make them purple if you can. Now, if you have somebody crafting it for you, and if they can at least get it up to blue, that's going to benefit you because typically I switch out my gear every 10 levels. So if I make it purple, it'll last me 10 levels. Right now, this is level 30, and my character is a level 36. So this is going to last me a couple more levels, and then I can switch out. So good rule of thumb, if you have purple gear, it'll usually last you up to 10. Now, if you're doing dungeons, it will drop in blue, but if you're breaking down, if you're getting some stuff, you can go ahead, break down, hopefully get some lining. You can also buy that from characters if you're starting to craft your gear. If not, blue still works, so don't get discouraged. But trait is very, very important when it comes to your leveling process. A lot of people are going to tell you to go divine. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that at a lower level because you're not going to be needing it until your end game. Now, later on, there are a lot of options. Once again, divine actually increases your Mundas stone. Now, when we're talking about Mundas, and I'll go down into the character, right now I'm on a healer, right? And the boon I'm running is the ritual because obviously it's increasing my healing, right? So that's what the boons do. It comes from the Mundas stones. And depending on what you're running for your character is going to determine what Mundas is going to benefit you the most. Since I'm a healer, I want to use the ritual because obviously it's increasing my healing. But let's say I'll go ahead and I'll take a look at my stat sheet, and I'm at 30,000 max magicka right now, and say that I need more magicka, right? I'm doing world content. I'm only in a dungeon so often. I need a little bit more magicka for some more sustainability for some reason. So the first thing I want to go ahead and do, now if you've actually unlocked your PvP, I would suggest go in there just for about 15-20 minutes, get involved in something, then go down and you're going to get assault and support just for jumping into Cyrodiil, right? But you want to go to assault and you want to put a point into rapid maneuver. The reason being is rapid maneuver is going to increase your mobility because as a low level player, your mount is very slow. It's very daunting. It seems like it's taking forever just to unlock way shrines. So rapid maneuver definitely helps, especially if you're just trying to get from point A to point B, even as a low level. So even if you're not going to plan on PvPing until you get higher levels, as a low level, as soon as you unlock it, go in there, do something for a few minutes, get involved, even if you die, just to get rapid maneuver. Once you unlock it, get it, slot it, and now when I hit it, even for a low level, I have increased speed. So this is kind of a very important rule of thumb, guys. If you're just getting into the game and you just need to get point A, point B super fast, rapid maneuvers is going to cut down that time considerably. So basically what I'm going to do, and as we look at the world map, you can see the black Mundas, right? Because I haven't unlocked it. I'm close to it. Now there's another one here, but as you go through the map, the closer you get to a location, it'll actually highlight. It'll give you an indication that there's a Mundas there. Once it turns white, that means you've gotten on top of it and you've unlocked it. But you can't see the other Mundas stones until you get near the area. So I'm going to go over here and I want to grab this Mundas. Now all I have to do is click on it, and when I click on it, I'll go back into my character sheet, and now from 30,000 to 32. Okay, so that's increased my max magicka. Now for a stamina user, you want to take, I would suggest going to once again ESO Wiki. They have all of the Mundas locations, and it's once again a really good site for that type. So if I ever look up gear or Mundas stone locations, I'll usually go to ESO Wiki. If I'm looking up sky shards though, I prefer Dolphy because it's mobile friendly. So if I have to pull it up on my phone or something, I like Dolphy better. I'm not getting swamped with advertisements as I'm looking at the map on a console. Now if you're on PC, you can actually get a lot of mods that will just highlight everything in the map. So if you're on a PC, you don't need to look up those websites. You can just download, a mod and just do it that way. So kind of becomes, a good resource. Now here we go. And like, say if I'm not needing this and I need to go somewhere that I have never been, right? So say if I'm needing the Thief, for example. As I'm opening this up, I already know that the Thief is over here in the Rift, but I've never been there, right? That's fine. What I can actually do here is, sorry about that, hit the wrong button. We're going to go ahead and do a fast travel. And I can fast travel to any place I've ever been to. So I'm going to go ahead and go to Davin's Watch. The reason being it has a port there. And since one Tamriel, you don't have to wait for the game's progression to proceed to the next area. So once again, if you've never been to an area and you need a certain Mundas stone for your build or what you're planning on doing, say you're looking up, what Mundas stones, and you say, okay, I need the Thief or I need the Apprentice. I've never been there. Well, since one Tamriel, they've opened up the entire map, so it's very easy to get to those locations now, because all you have to do is go to another city who has another dock. So it's really cake now. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to jump on my mount again, going to hit my rapid maneuver. Now keep in mind guys, everything changes. So if you're a tank, for example, you might need more health or you might need more resistance depending on your passives. Now that becomes very important too, because each class has different passives. So for example, if I was rolling with a Sork tank, right? And say if I had lightning presence, I'll get resistance from that ability, but I might not have the health if I'm not rolling pets. Now if I'm rolling with a pet, it will give me increased health. But let's say I'm not rolling with a pet and I have the lightning presence, I might need more health. Once again, you have to determine these factors. Now as I open up the map, I can highlight and I'll say traveling to the Gold Coast. This will say traveling to Alliance or Deshaun into the Rift. So that's where I want to go. I want to go to the Rift.
I won't promise. Let's go.
And now I can just go to the Rift. And that's the nice thing about one Tamriel. Prior to this, every zone had a certain level of mobs. Now that is not the case. So you can go ahead and let's say you want to skip a certain area and you want to do a quest line in Shadowfen. You can go ahead and do that. You can actually skip it and pretty much go down there and do the quest line, especially if you're looking for a certain gear. And that's what I encourage players to do. It's very important to keep to the quest lines because that does give you not only XP but skill points. And of course, the Harborage and all the main storylines, it's definitely a help towards leveling up. So basically, I already know that I need to be around this area, I believe. Once again, guys, and if you're a low level, you really want to get that rapid maneuver right away. Even if you're not going to PvP for a while, I always suggest people just go in there just to get the rapid maneuver. Either that or you're going to run out of a lot of stamina, and it's going to take forever just to unlock way shrines. Now, as I'm going through, even if I'm not collecting anything and I'm not doing the content, I will go ahead and still unlock the way shrines. So I can come back, it's already there. See, right ahead of me is a way shrine. So I'm going to just go over it just to unlock it. So now this gives me an easy way to fast travel to. Plus it's going to give you XP. But yeah, guys, now the funny thing about it is if you have any questions about, you know, your build, like say if you're going stamina and you're saying, you know, okay, I'm a Nightblade, stamina Nightblade. What Mundas is going to work out for me, right? Well, once again, guys, it's going to depend on your gear, not just your passives. Your gear is going to be a contributing factor. So if you don't have crit gear, you might want to pick up the Thief, right? But let's say you have crit gear and you're, you know, at 50% crit. Are you going to be needing the Thief? Not necessarily. You might want to go with the Shadow then. And that's in Shadowfen, and I forget where we're at for DC. But you want to go ahead and pay attention to your numbers when it comes to your character sheet. And once again, once you get up to, I'd say, your CR, your champion points, that's when you want to start looking into your divine, especially when you're running vets. Most of the normals, you're not going to need that. To be honest with you, I actually, on the PC, I stayed with training all the way up to CP 160. I knew I didn't need. I could just do the normals, get my Undaunted, work on that. And as far as enlightenment, now once you hit XP 50, you're going to become enlightened. Now I noticed up until 160, I was constantly enlightened. Once I hit 160 CP, that enlightenment stopped. Now it comes frequently. It comes randomly. And that's just another way of, you know, you getting, oh, maybe not. I got to go over to the next area. But there's another way shrine.
Over here. Help!
But I already know up here is the apprentice, so we'll just go over here. I think it's East March, actually, that the other one's in. But that's fine. Now, once again, I have rapid maneuver, so a lot of this mobs I'm just going to run past. Even if I aggro them. Now, if you do a roll over a cliff, you're not going to die. If you just fall over, you're usually dead, especially at a low level. Because that fall damage can be pretty serious. Alright. Still got aggro. Now once you have aggro and you get demounted, you're not going to be able to mount right away. So, there we go. Once again, I'm just going to go ahead and run past everything. And I might actually get knocked off my mount with these fireballs. Of course I did. That will happen. You know, the funny thing about it is a lot of people are like, oh, Templars, Magicka Templars are so overpowered. I would never really say that. I think the devs do a really good job balancing out the classes most of the time. Most people don't got to take into consideration how to play their class. And I mean, it can be frustrating because depending on your playstyle, you might not play certain classes better than others. But, you know, as far as I played MMOs that are a lot worse. So once again, we're right here. We're at the Apprentice, and you know, this is going to increase my spell damage. So my spell damage is at 1,755. My max magicka is going to go back down to 30, and I can go ahead and switch that out. We see we're back down to 30, and now from 17 to 19. So there you guys go. You know, the Mundas is important for you. And if you've never, like I said, if you've never been to a location, don't get discouraged. Just go to a dock, pick up the rapid maneuvers. You can get through a lot of the map pretty fast. And also when it comes to traits as leveling, I recommend training and your bigger pieces infused, but that's me. If you want to go all training, you can do that. Also, later on in the end game, depending on whether you're PvPing or PvEing, you may go divine, you may not. I would never recommend all 7 divine unless you're going with Twiceborn Star, if that's part of the build that you're trying to obtain. But once again, it's your preference. It's your game. Do what you want and what works for you. Like I said, I tell everybody what works for you might not work for me, vice versa. But there you guys go. I hope this video does help. If you have any questions or comments, just post below. I will try to get to them in a timely manner. I do want to thank you all for watching. And once again, and always, have a nice day.